So in the Bible, there is this thing called a Nephil. A lot of people don't say it right. When there's one of them, they'll say Nephilim, and if there's a bunch of them, they'll say Nephilims. There is no such thing as Nephilims. The word Nephil is what the name of the character type we're talking about is, and when there is more than one of them, just like there is a single God is called El, multiple are called Elim or Elohim. It's the same way in Hebrew. And so there's this talk about these Nephils that clearly defy what we know about modern day science. And I'm not saying there could be no mystical interpretation of this, but essentially what a Nephil is, see, a lot of people got this sort of backwards and forlorn idea that God always means the same thing. There's this passage somewhere in the Bible where it says that the daughters of man mated with the sons of God or something like that. And what we really need to understand is that back in the ages of Babylonia and many ancient civilizations, it's not that there was no unified source necessarily that everything was like derived from and the sons of. But essentially, I think in the Bible, when it says sons of God, it doesn't really mean what people think it means. Like they think that it's talking about, Satan coming down and, reaping havoc on the earth, and that he's the son of God. I don't think that's what it's saying. See, because Elohim in the Bible, Jesus said, "Does it not say ye are gods?" It also says that it talks about there's the divine source, and then there's these gods, these other gods. It says not to worship, right? Quote unquote. And a lot of this probably had to do with if you understand the true occultism of it, it probably has a lot to do with some of the negative influences that existed in the Near East at the time. But basically, these sons of God are actually sons of gods. And these gods are not really gods at all, per se, but what they really are is they are somewhat human in a sense. Essentially, what they are is they are beings of a more sophisticated and yet grosser plane of existence, you could say. You see, they're sons of what exists in the nether world, basically. And so these things, this other form of human being, during certain rituals that existed at the time, because the world existed in a darkness that no longer exists today. There is a lot of darkness, but certain things have been prohibited spiritually. Certain demonic forces and whatnot have been prohibited, in partly by Jesus and the spiritual hierarchy of Earth, essentially. And they would perform these rituals, and a lot of these beings, these evil beings from the netherworld, in my opinion, that's what I think. These beings would be born on the earth, essentially. And basically it was an abomination because these people were taking over everything. They was taking over the world. They had more power, essentially. These beings from the lower realms and whatnot were causing all kinds of havoc, on the earth, and certain things had to be done to pin down a lot of these forces, and basically diminish their power, essentially. There's many different types of giants. Some of them are actually heavenly. My mom says that she saw a 12-foot tall humanoid one time. It was 100% light being type entity. I don't think that was a demon. It came to her when she was mourning over someone's loss. It's probably not a demon. But essentially, that's one thing that I think could be going on, when in the ancient days, when it talks about these Anunnaki and these Elohim and stuff like that. It's not at all that there were no angelic beings that existed back then that possibly and actually still exist today that protect over humanity. But I think what a lot of this is, what we think of as a dimension, is actually a different frequency of matter. And these beings in these grosser realms that got access to things, amounts of knowledge and information and stuff that we don't, are actually more advanced than we are, essentially. And, a lot of this knowledge, even though it came from the spiritual hierarchy, it was corrupted by the lowerarchy, right? The netherworld, basically. And it's probably where my dad went when he died, by the way. It's true. He was an asshole. God bless him, though. And I just wanted to say that because, not very much is known about the Nephilim. And this is something that, I've been trying to figure out myself, because they talk about these giants, and it's like, could an ordinary human being be that big? Of course not. They had some kind of evolution, but it was an evolution in a different frequency, in a different form of matter, where things are, they're able to bend. As a matter of fact, some of these beings are able to probably manipulate their own physiology. And if you can manipulate your own physiology, you can probably, they had an almost physical type body similar to us, but of a different frequency. But they were able to tune into this frequency and show themselves on the earth, right? So that's one theory about the Nephilim. And I'm still learning about this stuff.